Happy Monday.
Oh.
How are you?
Ugh.
I know, right? So before we jump in, happy Monday, everyone. Welcome to Mindset Monday, where independent patient advocates come together to start the week with positivity and inspiration. I'm Nicole Broadhurst, and I'm here today with my co-host, Kayla Thompson-Riviere. We are a healthcare administrator, and she's an RN turned independent patient advocate. Today, we're focusing on perseverance and resilience. And I think we're going to have a really good chat today. So let's jump in. Kayla, what is our quote this morning?
It comes from Winston Churchill, and it's success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to.
Ooh, so sit with that for just a minute. I love this quote. I love it, love it, love it. Because I think for me, I sometimes start to think that success is the end of my journey, right? Like I'm striving for this success, and when I get there, it's going to be great. But the reality is that it's not final. It only lasts for a minute, and then I got to start working again. And if I don't ever get there, that's also not fatal. Like it's not the end of things. That's a good reminder. Kayla, I am so sorry. I know you had a really rough weekend. And that's why I'm like, perseverance and resilience might be a good thing to chat about this morning. How are you
Success
feeling?
is certainly not final because it can be swept out from under you at a moment's notice.
Right?
So for those who don't know, I have a baby. He's 7 months old, and I am breastfeeding. Which is not quite by choice. He is a very, very strong. I have bought 11 different pacifiers. He will take none of them. I am the pacifier. Guess what I do all night?
Oh.
And until he was about 5 or 6 months old, we had a really hard time getting him. And I started with those things from the beginning because that's a common mistake breastfeeding moms make, is waiting too long to introduce those things. No. I started from the very beginning, and it didn't matter. He will literally fire, and he will spit it out and look at you like, who do you think I am? What are you putting in my mouth? It's going to be interesting to see what he turns into. So anyways, on top of that, I have a bit of an oversupply I've been managing. That's fine. This is going to be my ticket out so that I can keep feeding him, because if I can hardly get him to take a bottle, I don't think he'll take formula.
Right.
And we bought a brand new freezer, and I've been stockpiling. Saturday, I don't know what happened, but I checked on the freezer and all of the milk was warm. It wasn't the freezer was off and it was a little thawed. It was freaking warm. It was done. About 2 months worth, almost 2 months. Initially, I thought it was a little less, and then I went back to look at it again. No. So about 80 hours of pumping and 2 months supply of milk just gone for him. The dozen or so hours that I spent managing it and bagging it and labeling it, you can stand it up. And I created a whole system to keep it organized so that I would make sure that we were keeping it rotated, and I could go on and on and on. It's like, I did the math. It was like 40,000 calories from myself that I put into it. Just my husband's got to go dump out in the field today. So
yes. And this is not fatal.
So
it feels fatal.
No, but it did feel like a success. Yeah. It wasn't final.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So
no. Oh gosh.
continuing. I mean, I'm literally like grieving. Like it was a big piece of myself, just spoiled.
Yeah, right. Literally. Spoiled. I am so sorry. Like this is perseverance and resilience. So the first thing that I wrote in my notes, Kayla, about this quote was to embrace the journey, not just the destination. And so this makes me think about, okay, so all of those days that you did all of this work and you put this away, how did that feel like daily, knowing that you were on this journey, right? It felt
Not
really
good.
good.
This was not about the journey. I can't stand it. I'm tired of it. This was 100% about the destination because it's something for my child. It's not something I enjoy to do. It, like breastfeeding is a nice experience. Like I'm over it. I don't want to go into detail. I don't know who all's listening, but like,
right.
Not fun. It's not enjoyable. I just want to be done.
Yeah.
So it's really painful. It's really painful. I am like struggling to because I just want to like, but I mean, like, what else am I gonna? There's nothing I can do. Like, there's literally nothing to do. It's gone.
Right.
It's gone. And when we like researched a freezer that was garage ready and like supposed to function in temperatures down to 104 degrees, and we haven't experienced either of those swings. We have another freezer my husband's mom gave to us a couple of years ago that she had that freezer 10 years ago. So it's older than that and it's still running just fine. I was like, what in the world?
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay, this is great because now hey Sharon. So now I kind of want to talk about, so how are you working through this in regards to, persevering? Like, what does that look like? Like, are you gonna continue pumping? Are you like what is that?
I don't know. I told my husband this morning, I'm like, I'm not gonna like double down and try to pump more to make up for what was lost. No, it's just freaking gone. It's like I want to quit so bad already, and I was so close to have to be able to, and to not have to worry about trying to switch him to formula, and if it's going to sit if the supply chain isn't going to be an issue or what it even costs right now. Like all that entirely. And my goal has always been with my first, I feed to a year. And then he started sleeping through the night at 7.5 months, and most women, their supply regulates out. Mine did not. I stopped nursing at night. I didn't get up to pump, and it was like, oh, you don't need this anymore. And a week, I went from making 36 ounces a day to 5 if I pumped for 3 hours.
Oh my gosh.
At that point, I was like, that's not sustainable. So I quit. But I wasn't ready. I wasn't prepared to quit. I didn't have a staff oversupply. I made just enough for him. So thankfully, though, he wasn't nearly as picky, and we got him switched over. That was the end of that. But this time I've maintained the same thing. I said, when he starts sleeping through the night, I start sleeping through the night. I'm not getting up to pump. I need to sleep.
Right.
And it hasn't changed. So it means we're just gonna run out of milk, or I don't know, maybe he won't sleep for another year. Who knows?
Who knows, right? Who knows what that's gonna look like? Oh, well, I'm glad to see that you're in the office and we're starting a new week and rough stuff. let's talk about like,
I know
let's
you're like,
talk
we're
about
here for
this stuff.
positivity and motivation. I was
I
like, are we,
know, I
Nicole?
know.
Maybe one of us is.
And,
I'm here.
well, and that's what, no, but this is like reality. I'm sitting here thinking about that's just the reality of where we are. And I think it's important to talk about it and to
Yeah.
be where we are. You know, I showed up today, my hair is still wet, the curls are still drying. It's not actually like the way I want to present, but it is Monday morning and it's time to get things started. So we're showing up anyway. Right? I mean,
Yep.
that's really what this is about being persistent and resilient to the fact that, you know, some days are just really bad days. Sometimes really bad things happen. And sometimes we don't want to get out of bed and we don't want to show up on the things that are on our calendar and we don't feel motivated and we don't feel inspired. It's what we do then that makes the difference. Right? It's showing up and still talking about it and still getting through it and figuring out what the next step is to get back to where we want to be. I think that's what it means when it says it's not the destination, it's the entire journey, right? The good, the bad, the ugly, the pretty, all of it is what it takes. And I think it's important for us to talk about that, you know? How do you do that? Like, how did you, like, in the midst of all of this stuff, Kayla, you are still in your office. Like, you got up and you went to work this morning, right? And I'm sure that this is just the beginning of your day. This is not near the end. Like, we're just getting started today. And so, how did you do that? Like, what were the things that you said to yourself? What does that self talk look like or sound like in the midst of all of this ugliness that you're dealing with?
I don't know. I'm very, I can be oh God, the word has escaped me. Stoic. I can be a bit stoic about things sometimes. For me, like I'm letting myself have the feelings, but like there's nothing that can be done.
Right.
I just have to keep moving forward. I don't know. Like that's, been what I was driving into, like, because I had to share some more of my feelings. And, somebody, one of the guys here at the center made the mistake of asking me about my weekend, and I told him.
I love this.
There's one version of me, guys. So like I'm never going to be the person who's like, oh yeah, it was fine. No, don't ask me a question you don't want the answer to.
I think this is really important because people ask all the time, so how was your weekend? And I don't think most of the time people want the real answers. And I think it's important that we give them the real answers, right? Because we, especially in today's society, we were inundated with all of this stuff online and specifically in social media where everything's the good stuff, right? Like it's good, everything's good, it's good, it's good. And I often think about, oh my gosh, my dog. I often think about how that encourages us to compare our insides to everybody's outsides instead of understanding and being real and transparent and authentic with each other as human beings, right? And that we're all having the same type of experience, right? I love it. I love it. And I love that you were real with the people who asked you. When you have a shitty weekend, just say, I had a shitty weekend. It was really bad. I'm glad to be here and get the focus off of it. I think we've all had those moments, right? Where we're just glad to get, I don't know, Kayla, I think probably you and I are a little bit similar in some of these things. There are lots of times my personal life drives me into like, oh, good, at least I get to go to work and not think about that crap for a little bit, right? Like,
yeah,
get that focus off of whatever it is that's happening personal, and I think that's important too. And I think, when we talk about this, not only in our personal life and every day, but I think it's really important as advocates when we talk about being resilient. One of the reasons we have a job is because patients, families get to this place where they're just exhausted, right?
Yeah.
Just exhausted of everything that's happening to them, around them, in the healthcare system. And we're advocates, and we're like voluntarily going in to deal with these things. And so I think it's important that we talk about, sometimes it gets to my brain, sometimes it gets to me, right? And I have to take a step back and be like, okay, what do I need to do to reignite my passion about this journey and helping this patient, this family get through this stuff? You know, it's really our opportunity to kind of be the role model for this when it comes to resilience inside the healthcare system. And that's a hard job,
Yeah.
I mean, that's hard to show up over and over and over in those really hard, challenging circumstances and situations. It's one of the reasons we do this on Mondays,
Mhm.
right? It's one of the reasons that we do Wednesday wins at the beginning of our calls on Wednesdays, right? Because gosh, if we lose sight of all of the little tiny successes, we could really get dragged down into
Yeah.
it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. To pivot, and on that note, for those who don't know, Nicole hosts a book club in the
Oh,
circle.
yeah.
And this quarter is my first quarter participating because, my time. But, audiobooks are the way to go, guys. If you're like, oh, I don't have time to read a book, me neither. But you
Right?
know what? I'm always like running errands. And now I have this office space. So I'm driving 20 minutes each way. Or maybe it's while you're washing dishes or folding laundry. Like there's always little snippets of time that you can put in and do some personal development. That's what's worked for me. But the book that she picked the spinner picked for, there's a whole wheel. It's quite fun. You guys need to come over.
Yeah.
But the book
Hang out
this
with me.
quarter is Start With Why. And I'm almost done with it now. But I found that really, I'm taking the concepts and applying it to my messaging and my marketing. Oh, look at that. Nicole's got the real book.
Just pull
But
it off the shelf just to show what it looks like.
part of mission statement and a vision statement for my company, and I have it up right here behind my computer now, front and center, of literally, why do I do this every day? And the short answer for me, for those who don't know, I do clinical advocacy, so medical guidance and whatnot. And one of my driving forces has always been based around the statistic that we lose roughly Americans annually to preventable medical error. So that's a very easy thing to tie back. Like, why? Because people are dying. That's what
Right?
I say all the time. Like short, and I would say sweet. It's not simple. People are dying. That's why I'm here. I got work to do, and that keeps me coming. But every time I want to quit, I'm like, people who need me. They may not know it yet. We haven't connected yet, but there are people out there who absolutely need me, like on a very fundamental level, and I find that to be incredibly motivating.
Right. Yeah.
So that's part of my courage to continue.
There it is. Courage
Reminding
to
myself
continue.
of my why.
Yes. And I think that's important for all of us. I love that the whale chose this book. It's a really great book. If you haven't read it, join us. Even if you don't get through it all, join us for the conversation. It's going to be a great conversation at the next book club. The courage to keep moving forward, the courage to continue. This is, I love this because it really does. I don't think we talk about it enough. Like how much courage it actually takes when you experience a really big setback or a learning experience in the journey, that courage to continue is huge, right? And I love that you tied it back to the why, Kayla, because I think that that is so powerful. You know, I too I was sharing with Kayla earlier, am working through Find Your Why. That is the next book. If you don't know what your real why is, it's a great thing. It literally has more to do with who you are on the inside. And as I've been doing this work, I've found that this crosses all aspects of my life. Your why crosses every aspect of our lives. And so sometimes it's a little bit more challenging to find and to see. One of the things that I have seen is that, anyway, mine has to do with finances and fear, and I'm still plugging through trying to figure all of that out. But it really is this core driver, this core motivation that, you know, no matter how many times you find an obstacle or a struggle or a setback, it's the motivation that pushes you to continue, right? In the face of adversity, in the face of perceived failure, in the face of whatever those challenges are. And it really is courage, you know, courage
Mhm.
to do it anyway, um and not knowing what the outcome or the destination, or if there will even be one, right? um so I love this. I love to hear. So I have a story about a client. I know that's shocking that I have a story, but I have a story about a client where I know, right? So we worked with this client for, I'm pretty sure it was like 2 years to get this bill. And it was a ridiculous bill. And we couldn't get them approved for financial aid. And we're still to this day not even sure why we weren't able to get them approved. Anyway, literally it felt like we were banging our heads against a wall with this case, and we just kept doing it, and you know, trying different ways. And literally the client got upset and he called me, and he was really not super nice to me because we'd been working on it for so long and we hadn't made any headway and it hadn't been resolved. And you know, it was one of those moments that I truly was questioning my skill set and ability and all of the things. And in the moment, I felt so strongly about this case. I said to him on the phone, look, we just sent a letter to them yesterday. And if they don't resolve this based on this letter, are you willing to go to the media? Because I feel like if they don't resolve it, then we need to put them on blast. There were a lot of things that were going on. And I said, but I don't think that'll be necessary. I think that it will resolve. I had no idea, right? I had no idea. Within 24 hours, we had a resolution. The hospital accepted our offer, which really was for $0, to just settle it and be done. It was in that moment, though, that it was courage. Like, I just had the courage to say, this is what I believe and this is what I think is going to happen. And I had no idea what was really going to happen. Right. But my
Mhm.
why on what I do is so strong that even in the face of what looked like it was going to be a bad situation, I was able to stay committed to the process. Um, And I don't think we give ourselves enough credit for this courage that we exhibit when we keep going in the face of all of this stuff. Um, I think it's important to give ourselves credit and to give each other credit for that courage. Are you there, Caleb? I don't know. Did
Yeah,
we lose
yeah.
you?
I am.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
no, no. I'm also dealing with significant Wi-Fi issues here.
Oh,
They might
no.
be moving my office into another place, which I'm like, I don't. Come on, I don't want to move too. But anyways, I shut
I
the
know,
camera off
right?
to see if that would
Oh,
help, so
okay.
that you guys could at
Okay.
least hear me. I guess.
Okay. Cool. So, yeah. So I think we need to inspire each other with that courage and encourage each other with that courage, because there's lots of barriers and lots of setbacks that get put in our path every day. Any thoughts on that, Kayla?
Yeah. I don't know. I really embrace this concept of like, okay, well, stumble, but you got to keep going. Like,
Really?
to me, it's just
Right.
as simple as deciding that there is no alternative
Right.
and make that
Right.
one decision and then commit.
I love what you just said um, about there not being an alternative, because the reality is that there is no other alternative. I mean, it's not about making a decision that there isn't. Like, if we want to continue to progress, and we want to continue to grow, and we want to continue to enjoy life, then we really do have to keep going. Like, there is no other alternative. And I think this is kind of the mindset that allows um, the setbacks to take over, right? Is the thought that, well, getting stuck, and we've talked about this before, getting stuck in, well, what if I had done this? What if that had happened? And this, and staying focused on that instead of saying, like you said, it's done. Like, it is over. That's what happened this weekend. And this is where I am today. And I need to keep moving. I need to keep pushing forward. Otherwise, I'm going to get stale. I love this. Sharon shared that she went through a bad divorce. I too have had an experience with a bad divorce. And, I can remember saying to my first spouse, I can remember saying to him, the train's about to leave the station. You can either get on and come with us, or you're going to get left behind.
Right.
And that's because there was no other alternative. Staying at the train station was not an option, right?
Right.
Staying where I am today is not an option. I have to keep moving. So I love that you brought that up, is that, good for you,
Yeah, and
Sharon. I'm gonna,
I think that like for me that's I think part of maybe somewhat of a personality trait of mine. Like when I make a decision, that's it. Now, I may take a long time to make that decision and I, weigh out the pros and cons, but once it's made, it's
yeah,
made. And so that makes everything else afterwards a lot simpler because like I think that's where like when hard things come up if you want to relate it to the business, especially with me right now,
okay.
like I'm doing a lot of work on this business. I'm not getting paid. I've generated some revenue, but it is not yet enough to pay myself a
Enough.
paycheck. And so if I wasn't so resolute, I could see it being very challenging of like, do I
Yeah,
keep moving forward? Do I keep trying? Do I give up? Blah, blah. Like I could see myself spending a lot of time and energy in that place, but
right,
I have bypassed all of that by no, I am committed to this journey, and I decided
right,
that after I went through my experience with the healthcare system, I committed to doing this however long that journey was to be. However hard that journey was to be, this is the path that I am on. And my only choice is to continue moving forward.
right.
So, that being said, it makes everything else not easier, but a lot more simple.
I hear you. So you know what? I just want to say this about that. If you are building your practice today and you don't on a regular basis want to quit, then you're probably not doing it right. I'm just going to say it. Like, seriously, because this is one of the most challenging. Building a business is not for the faint of heart. It is not. And there are things that happen every single, I'm not even going to tell you, probably at least at a minimum 2 to 3 times a week, I think about throwing in the towel. and being like, forget it. It is just too hard. I don't want to do this. You know, it'd be so much easier to punch a clock on somebody else's
A
company,
job.
right? Right. A job. And then I remember like all the reasons and all the good things. And so I get back and get that courage to continue. So I just want to say that. I want to make that real because I think that that is something we don't talk about enough, is how hard it is to do all of these things. And especially in the beginning, we do tons of stuff that we don't get paid for. I think I've shared with people, I think the first time I ran my numbers on my return, I think I was working for about $8 or $9 an hour. Yeah. Yeah. So, and you know, so be nice. Like find your why, stay committed, and find that courage to continue. And if you need help, hang out with us inside the circle on Mondays here at Monday Mindset, Wednesday during our calls. Listen, we're gonna have to tie this up. So as we kind of pull this all together, I'm gonna encourage you, reflect on this wisdom of success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. And think about where in your work and or your personal life can you summon some courage to continue something that may not feel real good right now. I'm excited to hear about what you're struggling with and how this courage to continue can help you get through this week. Kayla has shared hers. Mine is going to be some traveling stuff. What are your final words here, Kayla?
I don't know. Just I'll take a line from Bluey. Does anybody here watch Bluey? I hope so. It's a kids show, but one there's a line that sticks with me, and I say it almost every day. At one point, the dad Bandit is up early with the kids and taking them to the playground, even though he really doesn't feel like it. And one of the neighbors is walking by, and he's like, "Oh wow, look at you getting at it," and he goes, "It's got to be done." It's just that simple. It's got to be done.
It's got to be done. That's right.
And I say that multiple times per day.
Oh, right. I love it. All right. Well, that is a wrap for today's Mindset Monday. We're so grateful for you and this community of independent patient advocates. We hope that today's quote on perseverance and resilience empowers you in your work and personal life this week. Be sure to share how you're applying it in your practice, and we'll see you next Monday for more inspiration as we talk about self-care and boundaries. Have a great week, guys.
Bye-bye.